What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Talk with Hawk podcast. I am Hawk, and today we look at a team that is consistently on the verge of making the Super Bowl. They've got the quarterback. They've had a team. What do they need to do to improve? That's right. It's the Buffalo Bills, team I absolutely love. I love where they're going. I love how the organization has built this team around their quarterback. But what do they need to do to take that next step? Let's find out. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back in here. The Buffalo Bills are a team that is absolutely primed and ready to make a run at the Super Bowl. Everybody thought 2 years ago that they kind of ruined their shot by getting rid of a bunch of different pieces. And then lo and behold, again, they make the AFC Championship game and just got out-coached. So the questions of this team, honestly, are not the team itself. The team itself beats the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. The team itself plays very well in the playoffs. They beat the Broncos. They beat the Ravens. They just get out-coached in big matchups. It's not the players. The play calling in the AFC Championship game really confused me. And here's why. Steve Spagnuolo knew he had to get to Josh Allen quickly. He knew he couldn't let Josh just sit back there and then turn the defense around and start making plays ad-libbing like his own quarterback does. So he brought pressure. Well, what did Joe Brady do? Joe Brady called a horrible game, in my opinion. Khalil Shakir should have had a lot more screens or swing passes. James Cook should have been involved a little bit more down the stretch. You know you got to rely on your quarterback. But who's the one that scored the winning touchdown against the Patriots for the Colts? Oh, that's right. It was Joseph Adai. Who scored the winning touchdown in another game against the Patriots? Oh, that's right. It was Joseph Adai. You need your running back to make plays at the end of the game. Saquon Barkley made plays for Philadelphia all year. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs made plays all year. At the end of the day, you need your running back to be able to complement your quarterback. They're both in the backfield. They're next to each other. They're right there. Both of them have to be able to make a play when needed. So this team right now is really in an interesting position. It really is. It's a very interesting position because they don't have much cap space. They are negative $7 million before the jumps. They got about $14 million roughly in cap space. They've got 16 free agents. 12 of them are unrestricted. Let's go ahead and look at those real fast. So with all that, they are, let's see where they go. They're there. So obviously the well-known one. So Amari Cooper is a free agent. He's going to be 31. Rasul Douglas is a free agent. He's going to be 31. Austin Johnson, the defensive tackle, is going to be 31. Mac Hollins is going to be 32. Smoot's going to be 30. Reggie Gilliam, the fullback, I'd absolutely bring him back. 1,000%. 1,000%. I think he is a guy that makes a difference when it comes down to the running game. Jordan Phillips and Quentin Jefferson, both defensive tackles, free agents. So that's 3 defensive tackles that are free agents. 3 defensive tackles and a defensive end. So 4 defensive linemen. And then you got Rasul Douglas, who has been a solid player for them, and Amari Cooper. So what can the Bills do? Well, honestly, they're getting strapped by one of their panicky decisions, and probably one that they learned their lesson at very, very quickly. Von Miller was never worth what they paid him. Von Miller never should have made what they paid him. Von Miller needs to be a cap casualty this offseason. Either trade or restructure, whatever it may be. Von Miller is not who you need on that defensive line. You need cap room, and you need a difference maker. Now, there absolutely is a scenario where they could be holding on to Von Miller to trade with Cleveland as far as the cap swap. That does make sense. And this team is a team that immediately would get better if they were to get Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett would go play in Buffalo with a true quarterback, a true coach, although he does get outcoached. This is a legitimate team, and they got about 6 more years of Josh Allen's prime to be able to use where he can do everything before they have to start worrying about the team doing everything. So let's look at the numbers. They finished first in the AFC East. They rolled their division. They got 8 picks in this draft, so they've got some draft capital, but they don't have cap space. Well, what do the numbers say? Here's the numbers. They were 10th best overall offense at 359 yards a game. They were 9th in passing and 9th in rushing. 228 yards through the air, 131 yards on the ground. They averaged 31 points per game. But that's not the most impressive stat. No. The defense was 17th best, 342 yards a game. 24th against the pass and 12th against the run at 226 through the air and 116 on the ground. Well, yeah, that's definitely not that impressive. So what's impressive? Plus 24 on the turnover differential. You want to know how to win in the NFL? Potentially with a team that's not as talented as others. They don't have a bunch of guys. They got rid of Poyer. They got rid of Micah Hyde. They had to make a bunch of different moves. At the end of the day, plus 24. They also almost averaged 2 takeaways a game. 16 interceptions this year. 16 fumble recoveries. 32 total turnovers taken away. 32. That is amazing. What's even more amazing? 6 interceptions, 2 fumbles. You took the ball away 32 times. You only gave it away 8. That's how you make the AFC Championship game, even if you may not have the top-end high-star talent dudes on the defense. That's how you do it. This team is well coached. It is well coached. But Sean McDermott has continually been out-coached. And that is a big issue. That's the issue that I thought may have doomed McDermott, even though he made the championship game. Because anybody watching that game, I know it was Joe Brady, they weren't ready. They weren't ready. Allen was ready to play, but the offensive setup for the scripted plays was poor. The defensive setup, knowing that Kansas City's doing scripted plays, was poor. The players can only execute what they're asked to execute. That is something that in football matters a heck of a lot more than basketball. Basketball, you just make stuff up. Best players make the best plays, and that's it. In football, That's not how it works. I thought Joe Brady had a horrible game plan against a defense that he knew was going to have to be aggressive. I thought it was a horrible game plan. I thought the tush push for the Bills was awful. The Chiefs knew it was coming. If you listen to them through the week, they said they know what's coming. He's too tall. He's a quarterback power run, not a quarterback sneak run easily. The aggressiveness was okay, but when it came down to it, James Cook was a better option on the ground than Josh Allen was. Amari Cooper, I hope, will take a deal to stay in Buffalo to be part of a team that will, in my opinion, will make it back to the AFC Championship game next year. But the issue I have is, what are they going to do about the defense? You've got 8 picks. It's a defensive draft. But you've got a lot of different options here. A lot. Like, with the number 30 pick, and you may have to trade 2 years of first-round picks. You will. You'll have to trade 2 first-round picks to Cleveland. But if you trade Von Miller, this year's first and next year's first, to get Myles Garrett, that is a win for Buffalo. I like Rousseau on the other side. He may, this isn't a hope or a guess, but there is a possibility that he may be one that ends up being a cap casualty. They trade him to make room. I do believe they need to get better on the offensive line. A little bit. I think they need to replace one offensive lineman, get a little bit stronger so that there's a little bit more time. I know it sounds off because you only had 8 turnovers all year. But we saw what happened in the Super Bowl. And I believe Philly would have toasted Buffalo the same way. Because the offensive line for both Kansas City and Buffalo have major weaknesses. This is why I'm so high on the Rams. Not to take away from this. We've already done that snapshot. This is why I'm so high on the Rams. The Rams' defensive line got through Philadelphia's defensive line. Those 2 defensive lines by themselves right now are the 2 most dominant defensive lines in football. Philly and the Rams. Those are 2 defensive lines you don't want to play. Now, the Bills have 3 defensive tackles. 3 defensive tackles that are free agent. A 4th defensive lineman in Smoot that are free agents. Meaning they're going to need to hit in the draft. Their scouting better be on point because they need their 2nd and their 3rd rounds to hit and their 5th rounds to hit. Badly. They don't need a running back. They could draft a receiver late if they feel like it. I'd try to sign Mac Hollins back. I think for the team, you need Mac Hollins around. Keon Coleman will be just fine. He really doesn't have... Buffalo's offense is so different. Joe Brady, I think his offense fits Josh Allen, but it doesn't necessarily fit all the receivers because it is so much ad-libbing if there's not legitimate play action plays to make guys respect that ball on defense. I think they need to go ground harder. They need to go ground harder. If they do that, I think they've got a shot. I think they've got a shot to really improve and possibly get that first round bye next year. The AFC West, in my opinion, is going to eat itself alive. That division, to me, is going to eat itself alive. The Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills will be the top 2 teams. And based off of what Cincinnati did today, they released Alex Kappa to create cap space. You released another offensive lineman. You released somebody again that was protecting Joe Burrow. I don't get it. But I don't think there's obviously not going to be much competition from the Browns for the Ravens. There's not going to be much competition from the Steelers. They're on the downward trend. The Bengals, Joe Burrow's that good, but the defense isn't going to improve much. And if the offensive line is even worse, he'll have even less of a running game. And teams are going defense this draft, so he's going to be facing tougher defenses. Now, I do think the Bills' path will get harder. The Dolphins are going to go down, but the Patriots and the Jets, I both think, will be very competitive against the Bills. The Jets match up with the Bills pretty well. The Patriots also match up decently. And honestly, when it comes down to it, McDermott seems to really struggle in division games. Just laying it out there, destroying the division, taking care of business in the division. That is the number one priority. So I think you get the 2 W's over Miami. You may go 4-2 in the division because the Jets and the Bills are both going to be better depending on the Jets' quarterback situation. But I think you got to go after, you've got to improve the defensive line. Ed Oliver's there. Rousseau is there. Get Von Miller out. Milano is a really good middle linebacker, but you're relying on health. You need corners again. It's really defense focused, but I think you need one offensive lineman. You may be able to get Cooper for a deal, but you're going to have to open cap space. There hasn't been anything yet, so I'm kind of just waiting to see what happens. Really, that's where I'm at. I'm just waiting to see what happens. And we'll see what Josh does. Honestly, we'll see what Josh does. But they don't have a lot of cap room, and it's going to end up probably burning them. It will probably end up burning them, but they have that ability. They're right there, too. The AFC is going to be outrageously tough. The AFC is going to be so tough. I can't wait for it. I really can't. You've got 8 picks this draft. Use them. Get some players that you need. For goodness sakes, Debo, I know injuries, contract issues. The Commanders spent a 5th-round pick on Debo Samuel. Like, come on. You can go get somebody. And you don't have to give up the first if you don't want to. If you don't want to give up your first, fine. If you don't want to give up multiple first, I understand. But be aggressive. Go get players. Buffalo loves being able to build talent. They need to make some smart free agent decisions. They know they screwed up with Von Miller. And I think they keep him around for trade purposes. Cap, trade, swap. It would make sense. This team needs defensive. They need somebody next to Ed Oliver. They need another defensive tackle. They could get it in the draft, in all honesty. They easily could get it in the draft. They need corners. They can get those in the draft. I think the draft is going to help them, but they need to make a splash move. They need to make a splash move, and I don't know what they will do, but I would really go after Myles. I would not let the Commanders steal another player. The Commanders have all this cap room to be able to use. They can buy players this year again. Like, they're just like, yeah, come on, let's go. Come on over here. They can buy players, which means Myles Garrett to the Commanders is a legit thing. Yeah, I know the Browns are still trying to hold out. Myles Garrett slammed the door on him and said, no, I'm not signing an extension with you. And if he holds out, honestly, I don't think anybody's going to care. He's in such great shape. He's not going to get out of shape. The Browns could wait and trade him at the trade deadline. Myles Garrett is not playing for the Cleveland Browns. He feels disrespected by the fact that they're not willing to do what he wants them to do. Look at what the Niners did with Debo. Now they want Debo out. Now the other thing is, from some of the stuff I've been reading, Brandon Ayuk is also available. You just signed him to a big deal, and now you're just going to trade him? What the heck? The 49ers, since I did my snapshot for the Niners, have gotten even more dead cap now. So I think this may be their dead cap true down year on purpose to retool for 2026. But good gosh, if you're the Bills, make a move. Make a dang move. Go get the player that's the difference maker on defense. You need one, go get one. Simple as it gets. All right, guys. For you, it is Monday night. For me, it is Monday afternoon. We are coming down to the end here, closing out the Snapshot series before the league year kicks off 1 week from today. Starting to heat up. Rumors this, rumors that. Teams are making cuts left and right, though. Cowboys just tagged Osa. That one made sense, but I don't think he stays in Dallas either. I think he's another one they tag, and then if he doesn't stick around, why would he? So we'll see what happens. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. If you've missed any snapshots, I know these are kind of rapid fire over the weekend. I get it. If you missed any snapshots, the link for the playlist will be here at the end. Go check them out. As always, I appreciate it. Subscribe, like the podcast. It does help me. And thank you ever so much. It is a Monday night, so have a great Tuesday. Make it the best day that you can. And I will see you guys tomorrow with the New Orleans Saints and their outrageously bad cap situation. Whew, it's bad. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.